going on YouTube? It is Ushanka here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a quick video, real quick. Okay, so I was just thinking about this a few minutes ago, and about the censorship and the brainwashing of a lot of teenagers and millennials, at these big college campuses and everything. So I was thinking about that, how a lot of kids and millennials, Generation X or whatever, I guess we could be called that, right? They don't know close to none of anything about politics. And if they do, it's always from these independent, mainstream, liberal news like Vox, Now This, or Huffington Post, and, they get little to no views or interaction on their Twitters or their Facebooks or anything. They just constantly have to be put out. I heard Vox, was it Vox? Yeah, Vox, which is owned by Disney, lost some money, and then George Soros came in and, helped them out. Or, I might have got that wrong, actually. The point is, Vice. Sorry, forgive me for that. Vice actually lost money because they got no interaction. So George Soros came in and gave them a $2 million political donation, because they're liberal and they're woke and, progressive, and they know what's right and they know everything. So I was just thinking about this, and I was like, okay, why are a lot of these high school kids or college kids just so dumbfounded to politics? Well, let's go back to high school, all right? And I'll give you an example of me, and maybe there were some people who used high school and not used high school, but who maybe went through this through high school. So let's talk about that real quick. In high school, I didn't care about politics. I didn't like politics. I thought politics were it did benefit for me because I didn't have bills to pay. I didn't have anything to bitch and moan about, about why the gas is so high. I didn't have to do any of that stuff. So, it didn't really affect me. It didn't give me, keep me awake at night, knowing how I'm going to pay bills and what, I got to get a job and all that stuff. So, when coming out of high school, 18, got a car, got a job, started working, doing all this, adult stuff, our minds are still our minds are still growing. I believe your mind doesn't fully develop until you're about 25 years old, maybe 26 years old. That is when I hear that your mind is fully developed in a way, and you start thinking more responsible and, doing more of, the right things, left and right. You have to make quick thinking decisions, and you have to, really, your mind is evolved. It's aged. With the right learning and the right teachings, you are able to do things, and you're able to actually compute, and your mind can function, okay? And that is the proper age, I believe, that your mind can actually is fully developed, all right? So, high school, no politics. If you like politics, you did, but nobody really had any fascination with politics now. But see, schools nowadays, they want to implement politics because, politics, it's another way to get another liberal in the voting booth when they turn 18. So, even at 18, our minds are still developing in a sense. Our minds are still, growing and still functioning, because I could check Facebook, the memories, And I could see the things that happened back in 2011 when I graduated from high school. And I was 18 years old. So I could see some of the things that I wrote or shared, and I'm like, man, I sound like a kid still. Like, I sound like an idiot, and I, like, get embarrassed of myself even when I just look at it. Because you don't have to share it, you just look at back at your memories of things you wrote on that day, and it could have been from 8, 5, 6 years ago, whatever. And I, like, look at that, I'm like, man, I sound like a dumbass, writing that stuff. So I get, like, a little embarrassed about what I said. So at 18, yeah, you're considered an adult. You're still you're technically legal now, in most other states, but buy cigarettes, lottery tickets, drive a car, all this, good stuff when you're 18, and then it gets even better when you're 21. You know what I mean? That's the thing though. When you're 18, but you're still developing. Even at 21, you're still developing. So your brain is, and you are as a person is as well, I would assume. So with all this stuff that's going on in the world, you think kids who are our age, millennials who are 25, 26, some even in their 30s would think like, hey, I kind of have a different opinion now on things. I'm second thoughting a lot of this stuff that I used to think, and it just doesn't really hit me what I believed before. It's not hitting me now. No. What happens is that now these college kids, these kids fresh out of high school, 18, remind you, brain developing still. They go into the colleges or the universities, and they probably grew up in high school not loving politics at all, not caring about it at all. Yeah, they probably get to vote, maybe they get a job or something, go to school at the same time, but they do all this stuff, and they're still fresh, and they still have no love for politics. They know nothing about politics. They don't really care for the party system, and they just don't want to get involved still. All right. So when they go to high school, or not high school, when they go to universities or college, who are they met with? Well, they're met with the Marxist liberal professors, left-leaning, feminists or communist supporters, and they're just exposed to all that. And those guys are the ones who have the strong political opinions on things. And so they turn these kids who essentially have no recollection or knowledge of politics, and the only feeding that they do give them is the views of communism, the views of Marxism, socialism, and bashing on the West, bashing on capitalism. Saying how our society is unfit and it's wrong and it's evil, and people like me are Nazis. So I'm sorry for kind of stumbling around with all this, but it is a bit of a big topic to think about. So we're here with watching these kids on these campuses, and some of the videos I see of these two are just liberal hacks. Liberal talking figureheads, to where that's all they support, that's all they love, that's all they know about. They are sometimes they release their majors for their school, like what they're doing, and I've seen people who are going in for business majors, political science majors, all these people who are doing things to actually get them somewhere in life, and they don't know jack about anything, politics or what have you. All right, because even the most successful of businessmen still know who to align themselves with politics, because you get the wrong politician in there and you vote for someone and the other guy gets in that you don't like, that guy could be making policies and laws that could hurt your business. Okay? So that's why it's important to vote. And then on taxes and all that stuff, when it goes down to stocks and what have you, all that stuff later down the line. So politics, when going into business and doing with things with your life, you have to have a general idea, knowledge about how politics kind of works. Not talking about like Mueller reports and getting into that, but at least knowing the basics about taxes and laws and certain things and who supports what and who says about this and that, what have you. But you have these college kids who probably obviously never they just paid attention enough in their economics and their government classes just to pass it and graduate high school. But they don't care. It doesn't benefit them because they haven't gotten a job yet. Maybe some did, but yet they still didn't care about it. They were still living at mom's house. They didn't have a whole lot of bills to pay. So their lifestyle was still, frankly, easy. And so they get into college and universities, and like I said, with the professors and everybody who's feeding them all this stuff, this communist BS, and socialist BS, and all that, left-wing crap. They just eat that up. And the more they get involved, the more radicalized these colleges get, the more that they want to censor everything now, because that's the only thing they know. They know because that is the motto of communism. That is the motto of socialism. The mottos are, believe what we're talking about. And it's sort of like just, censor everybody else. Stop letting them speak, because they're so blinded, they're so asleep that they can't think for themselves. They have to rely on someone else to tell them what to do, what to believe. And so from their freshman year in college to their senior year, that's X amount of years, depending on what you want to go for, of just constant brainwashing, constant commie this, commie that, capitalism horrible, F Donald Trump, white people are bad, anybody who supports Donald Trump is a Nazi. You have all these things that they're just being pounded into their belief system. They don't have the mind or a capability to think twice about, hey, are they right about this? Are they sure that what we're saying and what we're chanting is true? Is Candace Owens a white supremacist and a Nazi? Is Ben Shapiro, that Jew guy, is he a Nazi? What's a Nazi, So, they're just constantly hammered on this stuff. And by the time they are 25, their fully developed mind, their brain capacity, brain growth capacity is done. So by the time they're 25, all they know is just liberal crap, and that's it. Like the term a baby, or like that science that a baby's mind is like a sponge. That's why they encourage you to constantly keep talking and reading and singing to your child if you have a kid, to help with its brain growth. Well, it's sort of like that for these college kids, because we're kids, we're stupid. Why do you think that people don't like the idea that Nancy Pelosi said that they should lower the voting age to 16? Well, the reason why it's not 16 is because we all know how 16-year-olds are. Going all the way back from as long as 16-year-olds have been known for doing what they do, they're not they're not the sharpest tool in the shed. They're not the brightest in the box. They still need a little bit of work because they've only been around so long to where they can finally comprehend, what things are, and they're still learning. So it doesn't make any sense for that to happen, to lower the voting age to 16. And that's why people laugh and are like, what are you talking about, lowering the age to 16? On their minds, they're seeing just more votes, because if they can brainwash the kids, the younger they are, then the better chance they'll have getting reelected into the their political power and the position that they hold. So, with that being said, these kids who are now Antifa, they're just liberals. They just they go out and protest, or if you're out protesting, for what you believe in, and they don't agree with that, they will counter you, they will shut you down, they flip out, they complain, they cry, they totally just throw you down, they flip out. And I was listening to Alex Jones earlier, and he said basically they're like zombies. They're like zombies. They just they can't think for themselves. Think of like what a zombie is. They just walk around just with their backpack, just with their coffee in hand, their $1,000 cell phone, and drinking their latte. It's with extra soy in it probably, and with their glasses and their colored hair, and they're going to their political science class or their gender studies class or what have you. They go and they do that, and they're they have all their life set up right then and there, and they're just walking around like that, feeling crappy, feeling like they're just living their life. But then the moment that they get triggered, all their talking points that they've been taught throughout their life in college, dealing with their professors, they just flip out. They see something, they're like, it's like a kill switch, really. It's like like a sleeper cell, like those movies where there's a secret government. They hire the secret these agents that are sleeper cells, and 15, 20 years from now, when they have a plan to assassinate somebody. I think it's the Manchurian Candidate. That movie, I think that involves like a sleeper cell type thing. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but a movie about sleeper cells where you just say a secret word or a code word or an action, and boom, they trigger in the head, and they're like, I gotta kill, I gotta do this. They can go around living like a life, just having a life, but then the moment they hear the code word like conservative, Donald Trump, when they hear capitalism, when they hear pro-life, they hear any of that stuff, it's like that's the trigger warning for these sleeper cells, and they just flip out. They just go berserk. And if you're Christian, it's even worse. And so they're just like sleeper cells. So if you think about it, the Marxist professors, people who are teaching these kids, they're just training them to get triggered on everything. Training them to get triggered on, if I hear this, I need to hate it. And I need to flip out about it, because that's not what I believe. Because what the teachers do, they're going to do as well. So if they have these Marxist professors telling these kids what to do and how to act, instead of just, talking about it and maybe having a difference of opinion and saying that, yeah, we have different views, this is the way it is. But no, they're like encouraging these people to go out and fight. And they're also, and the professors are also there with Antifa, with these feminazis, and these other far left leaning protesters that just they're there on the front lines too. These professors leading their students. Some of them have even been arrested at Antifa rallies where they've hurt people, they've assaulted people, they did things that caused crimes. So these professors are out there doing that in these classrooms, indoctrinating these kids, and so by the time they're 25, they can't think for themselves at all. And like I said in my previous video, Caitlin Bennett, the Liberty Hangout, go check out her YouTube channel, just recently went around with a black guy saying for reparations. Can you give this man reparations? Instead of waiting, here's your ability to give reparations. So do they do that? Yeah, professors reached into their pockets and gave into the tied to the man, put money in his little glass mason jar because they feel like, So you see, the liberals believe that stuff. They'll do it themselves, and they're also teaching their students to do this. So they have this guilt about them, and that's just for reparations. The stupidity and the brainwashing for that. But I mean, imagine these are the people who are voting and who are having a voice in elections, and so these kids don't know anything. And like I said, by the time they're 25, that's it. They're done. Their brains are fully developed into believing one thing and one thing only, and their trigger warnings and their trigger mechanisms are anything capitalist, conservative, Christian. Those are the trigger words that wake up the sleeper cells. That's what they are. They are essentially just sleeper cells. They walk around, living their life, doing their thing, and that's it. They're done. The moment they hear or see anything, it's boom, trigger, gotta step into action, gotta say something, gotta cuss at him, I gotta say my chants, I gotta destroy their sign, I gotta assault this person, I gotta spit on them, I gotta throw feces at them, I gotta throw urine at them, I gotta hit them over the head with a bike lock. I have to do this. I have to yell, I have to scream, I have to cuss, I have to hear myself speak. I have to do all this stuff because that's all I know. That's all I was programmed to do. That's all they know how to do. It's like when you raise a child wrong, you don't raise them properly. They become little screaming brats, jumping around in the store, crying, throwing stuff on the floor. They're doing all this stuff, and you just see the parents going, "Hey, why are you doing that? Hey, what? Don't do that. Stop." No, you get that kid, and you grab him by the arm, and you say, "Hey, if you don't stop, you're gonna get a spanking when you get home. All right, or you better knock it off." But that's how they are. They're just like, "Oh yeah, just live my life, being liberal, being good." And when they see the sign, oh, there it is, triggered, tractor beeps, it's sucking me in, I have to go destroy it. And that's how it is, man. That's just how it is. So that's just an opinion for me and what I think how these kids are. And maybe you have a difference of opinion. Maybe you think, oh, no, that's not how I was raised, or this and that. Well, tell me in the comments. Tell me about it. Start a discussion down there, and really get to talking about what is going on in this world. You think differently. Well, let's hear what you have to say. All right. So, anyway, videos run on for long enough, and that's just a little opinion that I have here right now. So, I'm gonna end it right here, guys. So again, go check out my Twitter. I'll leave a link in the description below, and just basically stay tuned for the next video. Like, dislike, comment, whatever you want to do. Share it. Remember Infowars.com, Free Alex Jones, Paul Joseph Watson. Really just anybody who's watching this and disagrees with what I'm saying, I would encourage you really, if you disagree with me, but just encourage you to please go search out the facts, search things out, go and do some research, prove me wrong then if what I'm saying is evil and hurtful. Okay, so you take care, you guys. We'll see you in the next video.